You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
I was barely 2, and we were in this park in Shanghai, and I ran ahead because I saw this giant mud puddle, and I was like, yep, I'm gonna jump in that mud puddle. And so I did, and I ran and I jumped, and I fell flat on my face in the mud. And so I did what any 2-year-old would do. I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried. And parents were passing by, and they were like, what's wrong with that girl? Why is she so dirty? Where's her mother? And I cried, and I cried, and I heard them, and I was like, where's mom? So I did what I always did as a kid. I was crying, and I opened up my left eye. I looked over, and there you were. And you were standing there, and you were giving me a look that said, Jenny, you know better. And I did know better. So I kind of sheepishly opened my eyes. And then when I looked back at you, you winked, and then I laughed, and then you ran over, and you picked me up in your arms, and you gave me a big kiss on my muddy face.
You said, and you will be laughing, Allegra. You will live as the meaning behind your name and bring joy and comfort to others. You said, being shy is a waste of time. You taught me the art of fearlessness at 3 years old. You sang, you can do magic, you can have anything that you desire. Stand in the center, not on the end. When in doubt, do a cartwheel. I will always be here to kiss you goodnight.
When I was 8 years old, you and I had moved to the basement of a friend's apartment. And one day I had a friend over playing, and she asked me, why do you share a bedroom with your mother? I was like, what do you mean? Not really understanding why I wouldn't share a bedroom with you. Well, you overheard, and you moved your bed out the next day into the living room. And every time I think about it, it still breaks my heart.
No, her name isn't Allison, Alexandra, or Algeria. Her name is Allegra. You gave that name to me for a reason. Because it was different, because it was unique, until it became an antihistamine. Allegra means happiness and joy. It's what you saw in me the very first time they put me in your arms.
Jinky, Jinkui? Here we go again. Every roll call at every new school I went to. Actually it's Jinqi, Jinqi. Okay, girl, whatever. What does it mean anyway? It means endless fireworks.
I had big hair. Go figure. I used big words and I was teacher's pet. Not the most desirable combination for a 5th grader, but I didn't let that stop me. Mom knew of the challenges that I was up against, and she would tirelessly help me through them. Allegra, when someone is as special as you are, people tend to get jealous and try to bring you down. You should never be ashamed of who you are, and you should never let these kids try to change you into something you're not. So a couple of years later, when I had the chance to run for class president, I wasn't holding back. It's great going with Allegra Cohen! That was my campaign slogan. I may have gone a little overboard when I decided to wear a light-up bow tie for my student council speech. I wanted to wow them. I walked up to the podium with all the confidence in the world, switched on my bow tie, and began my speech. Then the laughing started, and the pointing. And then this one mean popular boy yells, "It's not great going with Allegra Frowen!" I was humiliated, absolutely humiliated. But I took a deep breath and smiled and kept going. I got through that speech because of you, Mom. You taught me to face the music through every childhood travesty. And you taught me that I didn't need all that stuff. You taught me that I was enough. Oh, and by the way, I won that election.
I haven't seen my dad in maybe 4 years. Yeah, sure, I moved from Nashville to China, to New York, to Dallas, to LA, back to Beijing, and my number changed a few times, but yours hasn't. If he really wanted to see me, he could get a hold of me. And sure, it kind of made me sad when he told our whole family that I was the one who didn't want him anymore, and that he didn't like me because I was the spitting image of you. Ha! The greatest compliment of my life, his loss.
You couldn't do it anymore. 23 years and you asked me if it was okay to let the marriage go. We took a long walk around the block, and then we laid on your bed and cried. Of course I supported you. It broke my heart to see you so sad for so long. It was the most difficult decision you had to make, but you did it. And you learned and you grew and you led by example that you should never settle and that it's never too late for happiness.
Yeah, sure, sometimes I cry when I see a good father-daughter movie. But you know what? If I really dig deep, deep down inside to the core of me, and I have, there's no sadness there. There's no gap with a label that says Dad, because there's Mom. You have always been there. You have been more than any two parents could ever be to me. I love you.
The first rehearsal of Cherry Hill West's production of Oklahoma was supposed to be on January 14th, 1996. I was so excited. Nothing was going to stop me from going to my first high school musical rehearsal. Not the impending snowstorm, not the fact that my father had moved out 3 months before, and definitely not this stupid tummy ache that I'd had for the last month. I walked into the kitchen to start my day, and then all of a sudden it happened again. Only this time, it felt like something snapped inside of me. I was a healthy kid my whole life. What was happening to my stomach? I could barely move and I was doubled over in excruciating pain. And all I kept thinking was, I can't believe I'm gonna miss this rehearsal. I spent the entire day crawling from the couch to the bathroom to get sick, and then back to the couch. It felt like someone lit a match inside of my intestines and was burning the walls down. I had no idea that with each passing minute, my health was becoming more and more critical. Mom was caught in DC in the snowstorm, so Dad came to take me to the hospital. I was rushed to the ER and into a very long, complicated emergency surgery. When I finally awaken, I'm connected to 1 million tubes and monitors. I can't speak and I'm physically unable to sit up. I felt like I was in a nightmare. Everything was blurry and I overhear the diagnosis. Crohn's disease. I never heard of that before. I was petrified. But then there you were, Mom. Every day at the hospital. Every day by my bedside. Nothing mattered more to you than my health. Every step of the way, every hurdle, you were there. When I was sobbing because of the huge scar they left on my stomach, you said, that scar makes you strong. That scar makes you a warrior, a survivor. That scar makes you beautiful. I couldn't have gotten through that ordeal, and so many more after that without you, Mom. You taught me to see the positive in every negative. Yes, you can do anything. You can have anything your heart desires. You can do magic.
You know, I don't think I've ever had a really big tragedy in my life. I mean, when I think about it, I guess the biggest thing that ever happened to me was when you and I actually got into this car accident and we were kind of run over by an 18-wheeler, and you had to take months off of work. And I remember I was still a kid. I would come by your bed every morning because you couldn't get up, and I said, "Mom, please don't die. Please don't die. Wait for me. I'm coming home soon." And then when I got to school, I would call you every chance I got just to make sure that you were okay. But you know, I didn't have any real tragedy in my life because I watched you and all the things that you had been through and all the things that you told me about. I lived vicariously. I mean, it was like living a whole lifetime before I even had my own to live. So really, the only tragedy that I think I could ever have is to not have you.
As an elementary school teacher for 30 years, you had a deep impact on countless lives. I would go to Signal Hill Elementary School and walk down the hallways with you, and the kids would run up to you and follow you around like the Pied Piper. You had the coolest reward system in your class. When you saw a student do a good deed for their fellow classmate, it was called the store, and you'd offer chips for the kids to accumulate to be able to purchase fabulous prizes. I see on Facebook all the time, kids are still writing to you, thanking you for Tranquility and Joy Day, their best memory of 5th grade. You made each child feel loved and special and heard, and in return, you were loved and revered and appreciated and made the biggest impact on so many children's lives. I only hope to emulate you, Mom. Your support in my decisions has been my backbone for success. I'm a producer, a connector, an entertainment industry matchmaker. My biggest fulfillment is helping others reach their goals, just like you. I couldn't have reached this moment without your constant motivation.
Of course I'm an entrepreneur. How could I not be when you gave me the ability to be independent and creative? I remember that one summer in 8th grade when I literally called every single name in the phone book because I was looking for a job. When you're a kid and you're too young and you don't have enough experience, nobody wants you. And I wanted it. And I think that summer I ended up selling Cutco knives from the back of my bike to people in knife stores and ended up selling them $500 kits and in the backs of churches. And I remember one day I was riding my bike home with this little briefcase that my stepdad had given me, and it started to rain, and the contacts kind of rolled back in the back of my eyes because it was so wet, and I was riding back and I was like, I just gotta do this, I just gotta do this. And I came home and you're like, what is happening to you? And you just supported me. And you know what's funny though? I'm 28 now, and you're 64, and this Live Right stuff, you're an entrepreneur now too. We're going through the same thing together. The same way when we first came to this country and I was 3 and you were 40 and we had $10 in our pockets in that little suitcase of yours, we walked here together and we're still doing it.
You are fierce, beautiful, my truest best friend.
You taught me to never be afraid because there's always an answer.
You're soft, fuzzy, cozy, a purely comfortable soul.
When you laugh, I laugh, and then I make you laugh, and then you and I laugh, and then we're both laughing, and then we're laughing so hard that everyone around us thinks we're crazy, and we can't stop.
You should never be taken for granted.
You gave me my heart, and you gave me my voice. You are my amazing grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now Mom,
I love you. Your patience,
your resilience,
your forgiveness,
your fearlessness,
your compassion,
your wisdom,
all of that is mine now. There aren't enough thank yous.
I would give my life for you.
As you have given it to me.
Look what you've created. Because of all the lessons you've taught me,
Because of the love that you have given to me, unconditionally.
look how beautiful you've made me. This is what I've become. Your living legacy.